and the ones that want to do succession has agreed that they are going to betray their party. Okay, one or two men are upset. If they are upset, does their anger and upset and disappointment translate into the totality of the election space? Are you going to be able to win an election after 2023 only on your tribal hunch? It's not going to work. You don't have a homogeneous North. Have you asked the North Central what their position is relative to the next election? So I'm saying clearly that it's very lazy and extremely annoying that a political party like PDP is not working very hard in the field to try to make itself electable. And to do that, they need to stop the quarrel. One, for you.
I write, and then the same guy had this to say about Willie Wike, the real catalyst within them.
You know, he who is mostly vilified, and if you like, whom when you mention his name, you are accused of having been funded by him, it is his role in the party over the years that is now clearly becoming a gaping hole. I've always said that Sowunmi is the Achilles, the key man risk. If you are a finance person or a consultant or somebody that is in management, you'll understand what they call a key man risk. A key man risk is that one person that his functionality and well-being impacts your organization one way or the other. And I've concluded without any reservation and no apologies to anybody that Wike is a key man risk of the PDP. Had he been functioning in the PDP the way they had known him, I can guarantee you all of these things going on, he would have found a way, whether dancing, bribing, begging, speaking, bullying, to stabilize them. His absence is clearly a question of if he didn't day, he didn't day. Now, as peace returned to the party, how could peace have returned to the party when, let me tell you something that interests you. The BOT leadership sat in Enugu with all of the Southeastern leaders. They affirmed Okoye. Yet, they were invited to a meeting in Wadata House that had Awanya, whom they say they don't want, seated there. They watched Okoye get bullied out of the place, and yet they did not protest. They didn't leave the place. They sat down there. They completed the meeting. They gave a communique. So you get the impression that the elders have become like children who don't have the capability and the strength of character to say, this is our position, and we're standing by it. And then what do you want the party to do? The members, people like us that are passionate members of the party, slowly but gradually, we're beginning to accept the reality that it's almost a nunc dimittis. If you have ever lost a parent or a loved one that is elderly, you know that process when they go to the hospital, you are visiting them every day, and sometimes you get to a point where you just know that, okay, you can't strangle them, you can't kill them, you don't want them to put up the oxygen, but you know that you're going to come and they're going to tell you that it's all over. That's what the BDP is doing to itself. It's in an ICT, intensive care. It's blaming everybody but itself. We have blamed the president for even taking Wike. We have not blamed ourselves for not having someone that has the balls and the capacity to reverse the process. We have blamed other people for causing problems that we're the ones causing ourselves, or they are the ones causing themselves. We have blamed, we're going to do a united merger, a merger that does not give you the powers to deregister the PDP or to deregister any of the other party. So my sister, my brother, Steve, my man, I think that I've accepted that everything that has a beginning can sometimes have an end. My hope is that maybe by us speaking some truth to them, they can take a halt and ask themselves that really what is the problem? And my consolation, if there be any, is that the crisis is only at the top. The baseline of the party at the ward level is a bit stable. The party at the local government level is stable. The party at the states, most of the states is stable. The party in the zones, minus a little bit of the issues in the southeast, is a bit stable. We're not having any problem in the zone of the southwest. We're not having in the south. We don't really have any major problem in the north central, northeast, and northwest. So maybe the only problem we have is in the NWC. And then you look at the NWC itself. Perhaps we should say the only issue we have is maybe the top two. We don't seem to have any problem with the national organizing. We don't really have any problem with the publicity and all the others. So if they can recognize that you can't continue like this in an election, in a situation when we have lost 3 elections back to back, blaming everybody except ourselves, I think we will be okay. But those who want to leave the party, who are tired and think that maybe they can do some amalgamation of decamping that they are calling merger, they should just decamp and let the party have peace. If some of them even live to this, their so-called merger process, maybe we'll be able to see who is left. Maybe the ones that will be left will be like orphans who will then know that their fathers and mothers are dead and they now have to, on their own energy, move themselves forward. But something has to give. It's nasty because it's giving the whole country and the democratic conversation in the country is making it look untidy. It's making it look uninspiring. It's wearing out all the young people in the country and people that are potential voters.
We will work with you to build a Nigeria that is not corrupt. I bring you a message of hope.
We are going to spend a lot of resources on education.
If you can define confusion, it is what PDP is. And even though a lot of people are proposing revolution, but a revolution itself must have a bit of a head, don't you think? And there must be something that is going to actually lead to a revolution, to be honest. Nigeria is due for one, no doubt. But if you want to have a revolution, something has to kind of like lead to it. The French Revolution of the 18th, was it 18th or 19th century, was because of the price of bread. Now, we don't have that luxury today in that contraption, where people are divided along ethnic, tribal, and religious line. But there is something that we probably will share or have in common, and that is the consequences of bad governance, which has created so much hunger in the land. But that itself is not a motivating factor per se. So there must be something. There must be kind of like, for example, a rigged election is always a very good ingredient for a revolution. And that is why those of you that they are going to lure into this their fake 2027 race, there's something you should have at the back of your mind, that if for any reason you ended up participating, and yes, you are going to be rigged again, the ideal thing to break yourself free from these charlatans, these career criminals, and Tinubu himself, is never to listen to them. Because somehow, some of them believes, right, that they have a lot to lose if a revolution takes place and it is not them that orchestrated it. You understand? Like, they will be sacrificed too. Yeah. If a revolution breaks out tomorrow in that contraption, Nigeria, don't think people are just going to go after APCO. They will also go after PDP. They will go after the rich people. They will go after just everyone, including that your uncle, that you think, na grace of God, gave him his wealth. And that is their fear. They will go after Obi. Obi himself will run. This is not, this is actually the truth. Because what happened is, you will be hearing things like, eat the rich, eat the rich. The frustration of the people in that contraption today might be sort of championed by the criminal politicians, but they are not alone. It is the collection of all these bodies that are culminated into what you have in that contraption today. The politicians are just the most popular among them. So a revolution that will kick off in that, something will trigger it. It could be election. And usually the one that really works well is when a revolution kicks off by through a rigged election, an election that is disputed. And then it's going to be a free-for-all. There's no one that's going to sit down and say, let us start a revolution. It doesn't really work that way. And Nigeria is so due for one. And the people that are going to make it happen, they are the political class, the elites, the traditional rulers. Have you seen this video? Sorry if you don't understand Yoruba. This one happened somewhere in Ogun State, where a supposed a king, the guy, I couldn't see his face, right? A king was assaulting an elderly man that was forced on his knees somewhere in Ogun State. Let me show that to you quickly before we continue. Do you understand that now? Like, everyone in that contraption is just waiting for his own turn to have a little power to oppress the next low person next to them. That's somebody who is, we are told that he is a king, is somewhere in Ota, in Ogun State. And I don't think that is the Olota of Ota, because if that should be him, oh my God. So they grabbed an old man and they accused him of befriending the enemies of the king. And they have been saying all kinds of things about him. Like, like they have been bad-mouthing him. And then they grabbed this old man who claimed to be, I'm not really feeling well, or I'm not okay, like I'm unwell. So slapped him. So he's siding with the people they claim were the enemies of the king. And it's like, what did I do? Kini Moshe? What did I do? And that is exactly what the picture of that contraption, Nigeria. Everyone is looking for an opportunity to oppress the next person. And then that is why you will see so many of them, they are very much in support of these lunatics called leaders in that place, whether they are like traditional rulers or they are like a political rulers or just some rich money misroad. So it is a place where oppression is like a normal thing. And the oppressed, they are fine. Because to them, if they oppress them today, tomorrow may be their turn. So they too will oppress another person. So the idea thing is, you know, instead of condemning the oppressors, just pray to God to lift you high so that you can oppress other people too. That's what the whole contraption is all about. So a revolution will cleanse the entire, you know, rotten system. And when it does, it is also going to clear those who are the active players in that rotten system. That's what is called a revolution. And that is what Nigeria is due. Like I said, something would have to trigger it. You don't sleep, wake up, and then be like, we are starting a revolution tomorrow. No, that's not how it works. You can start a protest tomorrow, but you don't start a revolution in a fixed day. But there will be sign. And that's why I do want Tifnumbu to go ahead with all the plans. And I also want to see the acclaimed opposition to continue to also live in that delusion, okay? And hopefully, they will be able to have enough millions of you on their side who are going to buy into the idea that an election can remove Tifnumbu, and then they will rig you. And when they rig you, right, you would not listen to them. They are going to tell you that they are going to court. No. You would have to kind of take your destinies into your own hands. And please, I am not the problem. I am just someone who believes that except the entire center cracks and breaks, the rest of us are going to be tied to the, to the apron or to the string of this contraption. And it's never going to be in anybody's interest. Yeah? Well, we heard that, oh, hang on. This is the one I wanted to share again. The Tifnumbu's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tagat, his name, he has this to say about the oppositions coming together to remove Tifnumbu. His words.
Listen to the talks by opposition political leaders in the last week, like Atiku Abubakar, even Nasu El-Rufai, who's in the APC, and all of that. They are saying that the APC-led federal government is not making the conditions right.
Were they not all in government? Did they not just leave government? Why is it that some people think in a nation of 220 million people that they have some sort of right to perpetuate themselves in government, that they must always be in government? This is our problem. Well, and this is why you always have this. The moment they find themselves out of government, they start grouping together to find a way to come back into government. And sometimes you will see that some of those people, the moment a slight door is opened, left ajar, and they're invited to come and take one position or the other, they come running. So this insincerity has to stop.
Well, listen to the talk.
I mean, it's not wrong, okay? Majority of them that are attending these gatherings, this is the selfishness we are talking about, okay? Majority of them wouldn't be found in any of such gatherings. They will be defending Tifnumbu today if they have been given an appointment. They are not honest. So it's always about power, really. But again, in a democracy, isn't it all about the power so that you can use the power, if you use it right, you can keep it for as long as the people are satisfied, Abi. And when the people are not satisfied, there should always be, that's why you call it democracy, Abi. There should be that window where people can say, oh, we don't want you anymore. That is where the Tifnubu and his gang, that's where the differs. So then, this is our turn. And we are going to spend 8 years, whether you like it or not, whether our policies are for you or not. So you coming together to want to come and take us out is going to be vehemently rejected, kind of. So the right to elect and unelect them, they were supposed to be like lying with the people. People were supposed to be the one to determine whether you are going to be there for 4 years or you're going to be there for 8 years, right? But that's not the reality in that contraption.